Hello, friends. We have puppies. Puppy Palooza. They're going nuts over this. Just wanted to say a few things about suicide, depression, mental illness in general, but all those things that lead to suicide. And first of all, I believe the current proper term for it is to suicide, not to commit suicide, because the committing implies that it's a crime, and even though it's illegal in half the states, socially, psychologically, we want to take some of that shame. Not that we want to promote it, but it's going to happen, and we want to take some of that shame away from that act, because no one does it intentionally to hurt others. Well, maybe some do, but generally, when people suicide, they're in this. They truly believe. Some truly believe that the world and everyone around them is better off without them. They definitely are convinced of that. Come on, guys. This way. Oh man, my dog's all riled up. So that's just one thing. And as far as preventing it, I mean, the sooner the better. When I worked for Children's System of Care, basically CPS, and I did intake for them, and just about every night, I'd come into my shift in the morning, and every morning there was a notification. We had to process paperwork for juvenile 5150. And we didn't hear about the cases where the child actually suicided. We just heard about the attempted suicide. So, and that's it's the number one death of minors in Placer County. Placer County is one of the not wealthy, but Placer County has a lot more resources than, say, Sacramento County. And I don't know what the stats are for Sacramento County, but it's just crazy to me that that's the number one cause of death for youth, minors up to 18 or 17, up to 18. Anywho, so I've been affected by suicide from the time I was about 20. I should say severe depression from the time I was, 13, 14. And I decided, actually I was hanging out in these mountains right here when I was contemplating these things. And we won't see dogs, you don't see me. Let's do this. I remember specifically thinking, well, I could end my life. I'm not sure how I'd do it at that point, but that was an option. I had heard it was an option. I had heard of it. The main way that people did it when I was younger in high school was slitting wrists, and they even talked about, this is before social media. Now there's all kinds of methods that are available for public view. Then it was, she split her wrist, but she did it the wrong way. You need to do it this way or that way or whatever. They're getting tips on how to actually do it. But I decided that, first of all, I could never do that to my parents, my siblings, my friends, because they didn't really have any idea. I didn't give them a chance to actually, help me, because we were just brought up to be tough and strong, and that's awesome. I'm glad. So, but I decided if I am gonna live this life, and I was very curious also to see how it would go. I couldn't do that to my parents. And also, I made a conscious effort, conscious decision, out loud, to myself that if I were to live, I want to be happy at least half the time. Like if I could get to the end of my life and learn how to be happy at least half the time, because I wasn't very happy at all for a very long time. And so that's one reason I started reading anything that I could about emotional wellness, depression, any self-help book I could get my hands on. Now back then, we didn't have the internet. First book I found was Codependent No More by Melody Beatty. It's on my mom's bookshelf. It looked pretty torn, tattered. I read it. And I thought, I don't think my mom read this because she's still a codependent. Well, when I got to be older, even though I had all this knowledge, I knew a lot of things. And I realized that knowing is only part of the battle. Now, Freud and G.I. Joe believed that knowing was half the battle. But it's not that mathematical. There's no formula for it. For some people, knowing creates more of a battle. So that's why it's important for people who have, say, pretty extreme trauma to deal with that trauma in a safe environment and in a structured environment and an environment where they can have actual real solutions. Let's on this hill. We were down there. See American River Canyon. Just around that river bend is the bridge fire. So we're kind of on alert for that. I doubt it'll get up here, but this whole area burned in 2004. Fire started right down there. Iowa Hill Bridge. So knowing is not half the battle. Sometimes it's 90% of the battle for some people. Chances are they didn't have as much trauma as some other people, but everyone deals with trauma differently. So some people could go through severe craziness, like war, come out fine, ready to go back. They're not haunted by, sleeplessness and fear. Some people are. And so everyone deals with trauma differently. And so when I work with people, and I've been working with people for a while, and I'm very interested to know about their lives and how I can help them and how people on my team can help them. And so it's Valerie? Oh, Valerie. Come on. Get out of there. Come on. No, you don't need that. Oh, jeez. So when it comes to preventing suicide, catch it. If you can catch it early. I know it's very uncomfortable. My own daughter came to me about 16 and said, "Mom, I know how you feel about medications, but I need something." Broke down. Said, "Okay, are you suicidal?" She's like, "Not right now." I said, "All right. Why? What's different? Why are you not suicidal right now?" She's like, "Because I don't want to hurt you, and I don't want to hurt Ryan," her boyfriend at the time. I said, I got on the phone. Just got medication. Just got it. I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge. I just knew to start with her doctor. That's all I did. I started with her doctor. I didn't look up the suicide prevention line. I started with her doctor. And just by doing that, by making that call, and she could see me making that call, prove to her that I cared enough, I was paying attention, I was taking her seriously, and we were making things happen. So that's my word of advice. Call their doctor. If your child, and most kids won't actually come to you if they don't feel safe talking to you. If you don't have a solid relationship, they probably won't come to you. You're just going to find them hanging in their closet, or they're driven into a tree, or they've huffed enough whatever to kill themselves, or, usually they don't. Slitting of the wrist is just not as much of an option now. If you have guns in your house, lock them up. If you have, keep tabs on them. My daughters and I, we all have iPhones. I still keep tabs on them. Share your locations, just so you care about them. We're not trying to snoop in each other's lives. I just like to know where they are, because prior to that, I woke up really early one morning and my daughter's car wasn't there. She said she was going to go to a friend's and come back late. Car was not there. Calling her. No answer. Of course, my mind goes to the worst case scenario, so I call a hospital first. Nobody there by that name. I called the jails. I called hospitals in Truckee. I called everywhere I could. And so I didn't want to alarm my other daughters. When my daughters woke up, I said, "Have you heard from Kenna? Because I have not." She said, "Well, let me check my Snapchat, and I can see where she's located from that." I was like, "Really? Okay, cool." So she was able to show me her location. So I drove to where she was. She had stayed overnight at a party. Her car was there. I'm sure she was safe. So I just let her be. Things like that help a little bit. Just keeping tabs on your kids, but not in a fearful way, just in a way that to let them know you care, and that if they're stranded somewhere and they maybe have a hard time calling, or whatever it is. Of course there's a little bit of fear underlying in that scenario, but also it's good because if, say, instead of texting them to see where they are, you can just look to see where they are, and they're less likely to crash from texting and driving. And so that's just one thing that we did, but mainly to pay attention to like the signs, and to really just have the courage as a parent. And it takes a lot of courage. Have the courage to ask, to talk about it. If your kids are young, you have a chance. Sometimes you didn't have a good relationship, and they've been yearning for that. And you may feel like, okay, it's too late because they slam doors in my face, or they tell me I'm the most horrible parent in the world. Come on, Artie, let's fix your leash. Come here. Come on, step in there. There you go, boy. Good boy. That's Morpheus, Trooper, and that's Artemis Falcor. So, listen to your kids in the first place. If they, obviously not coddle them, but find out what they need. And sometimes there's just no preventing it. And it's sad, and it's unfortunate. And if it does happen, and if you believe our souls carry on, and that your child's soul or your loved one's soul did carry on, and that death is not the end, and if their souls know how you feel and what you're thinking, which I believe is true, I think that what they want the most is for you to forgive yourself for not doing enough. And maybe there are some people who do suicide and they do believe that you didn't do enough. But there's no way to know that the only thing you can do is to forgive yourself, forgive them, and to learn from it. Like my aunt, my brother's aunt too, and her daughter, our cousin, they started working for a nonprofit in Sacramento called Friends of Survivors. And so that group provides support for the survivors of people who suicided. And they've just been at it since 2005 when my brother suicided. Actually, Labor Day, which is today. Today is actually September 6th, 2021. And he suicided actually somewhere around here. I'm not sure exactly where. Don't really have the need to go ask. But I couldn't come out here for a long time. I could not. He took this mountain from me by doing that. We did find him on that knoll right there where I was walking the dogs. That's where I was when I started filming. That's where we found him originally. And he had driven his Geo Metro down the hill all the way to that knoll. We found him outside of his car. His car had been, he covered his car with clothes so that the helicopters didn't recognize it as a car. They maybe thought it was a junk pile. So they skipped right over him. And we found him there. I had two brothers. I remember just like kind of got to draw it out one day. Carrying him up the hill, like, you know, just having his arms are around their shoulders and they carry him up that hill that we just walked up. So he was on suicide watch for quite a while, and maybe a couple months. And if you don't want to know what bear poo looks like, there it is. Full of berries. Oh, dogs like it. See that? Stay away from things that smell like that. They might hurt you. So, hi. Okay. So we were, yeah, so he knew he was actually mad that we found him. He really was over it. He made that very clear. But, you know, we spent 72 hours in Heritage Oaks, and, you know, they put him on medication, told him he was bipolar. He had a lot of issues, other issues besides that, but no one, he never really faced those things. All right, Artie, come here. Is not uncomfortable? Come on, lift your foot. Artie, hey, lift your foot. This foot. Come on. Artie, come here. Come here. Stop. No. Come on. Get this out from under you. Okay, fine. It's not gonna hurt him. So, yeah, so we got the whole family involved. I mean, there were a lot of people, aunts and uncles and us, siblings. Siblings were first. I mean, he was with a sibling or an aunt or an uncle all the time. At least that's what we thought. You know, he strategized so that we believed that he was with other people. So I kind of knew. It was actually Labor Day evening, 2005, and I was just watching TV, and I had this, almost like something hit me in the chest, like, or not just the chest, my whole soul, like I sprung up as in bed, just kind of sprung up in bed, and this darkness came over me, just this jolt almost, not electrical, but just this overwhelming sensation that I said to my partner at the time, I said, I'm pretty sure David's dead. She's like, wait, it's crazy. Like, he's with Aunt Alice. He's fine. I guess, all right, that's cool. So anyway, they found him 3 days later in his car. And it wasn't pretty. I read the autopsy report. I wouldn't recommend that. I'll fuck you up a little bit. So just the point that we did everything, everyone in my family did everything in our power. I'm talking like 20, at least 20 people. I mean, we're diligent. We're checking with each other. Where is he? Where is he? We're checking. We did everything we could. And he outsmarted us. And so that's how it goes, you know. I felt lucky to be kind of on the front line of that whole situation. so that I did see that we did everything we could. You know, at his funeral, there's so many people that weren't aware of the situation. They just thought it was, I'm not sure exactly what people knew about the situation, but I did stand up at his funeral. I talked about mental illness and how, you know, there's, it's not apparent when someone has issues with their psyche, and that, you know, we feel sorry for the people in the wheelchairs. Not that people want pity, but it's not as obvious as a physical disability. And to like let everyone know that we did everything we could. Everyone did everything that they could. Forgive yourself for not doing enough. So that's my advice in case it does happen. You know, I'm sure there's all kinds of methods on prevention, but when it comes to your own children, tell you what, when you're calling for your kid, can't find them, phone's dead or whatever, and you eventually go and check the closet to see if they're hanging in there or not, and you're so relieved and you start crying. You just remind yourself, spend time with them, because she said herself, she didn't want to hurt me. Now, if I did things to hurt her, if I was neglectful, if she thought I didn't care about her, what would she have done? If she didn't have people in her life who didn't care about her, if she felt alone, I don't know what she would have done, but I'm so glad she came to me for help. I feel very blessed. So then when, you know, we have the mental health issues in my family. It runs deep generations. Had a great grandmother who spent time in an asylum, most likely for postpartum depression. But she was strong and she got out, and that was very uncommon. It's actually very uncommon even now. It's very uncommon for people in her condition, at least at that time, to get out. So I'm glad that I had that. She spent a few years in there. My grandma struggled with depression and such. My mom has definitely shed light on the medical aspect of depression and bipolar, and just really taking the shame out of it. You know, if there's one person that has helped me to take the shame out of mental, I don't like the word mental illness, but like, you know, diagnoses and the mental illness, I mean, that's just what we use right now, but I really don't like that term. I mean, I hate to change things up, but, you know, like emotional conditions. Like, I like the word condition, but even then that kind of states something that needs to be focused on, which is fine. Come on. So it is Suicide Awareness Month, September, and one of my goals is to work on the song Lean On Me some more. Look at that. Sometimes too, another prevention method. No matter how much you hate picking up puppy poo, this guy right here, I guarantee you, he played a role in my newest daughter staying alive. This guy right here, you know, when she feels alone, if she wants to stand all, you know, she just cuddles this guy. He's her little angel. So thank you, Morpheus. And he is cute. So, and he's a great buddy for Artemis. That Artie, the husky, he's my saving grace. No offense to anyone else, but this guy, he's badass. He's my dog. He's our dog, but also, I don't know. I have to learn to share, I guess. You think I could have learned to share in such a big family, but sometimes you just gotta have your own thing. All right, so I will do what I can to get those lyrics down on Lean On Me. I was saying they played that song, and I knew about it. That didn't really occur to me what it meant, but because I'm older, 47 years old, fucking old. I don't feel that old. But anyway, played it at my friend Johnny's funeral. He committed, or see, there I go again. He suicided. Back then we called it committed suicide, but he did suicide in 1995, I believe. Shocked me a little bit. So I started learning about suicide then and how to deal with it and all that. So, but they played that song. Some lady played that song in the chapel at the DeWitt Center, which was where I was working. And actually, I worked in a transitional housing program, and he was actually living in that place where I worked when he had a mental break and went outside, left in the middle of the night, and hung himself from a tree with his belt. I never heard that before, but he did, and I was happy to see that at his memorial service, the place was packed. He had a lot of caring friends, you know. And that's that was awesome, because when I knew him, he was very isolated. He did not have any friends whatsoever. He was having a lot of delusions and such. So that song I've been meaning to learn for a long time, and it sounded complicated, but it's really not. It's D, G, and A, just like all the other songs. I'm sure there's other chords I could throw on there, but D, G, and A, that's kind of my range. So my band and I, our band, As Sick as Men, that's kind of our goal, to learn that. So one of these days, well, I'm gonna work on it. Everyone else can work on it if they want to, but I'll get that out, whether I have a band or not. I'll at least have probably some people helping me sing it. My newest daughter and my newest spouse. Oh, more bear poop. See, the bears are staying away from our house. We've been keeping track of the compost a little better. We were putting compost out in a pile, and now we're tired of feeding the coyotes. And I don't mind feeding the deer because they're not destructive, but bear and coyotes, they can stay out here. Yep. All right. And if you are feeling like not the greatest, you can give me a call, and I can just help you get set up with some resources. If I have time, I'll talk. Please limit it to 45 minutes if I have the time. And that's it. There's the American River Canyon, Iowa Hills Bridge right down there. Colfax, town Colfax is over there. That's beautiful. Say bye, doggies.